Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. Today we're going to be doing something different. We're going to be looking at a new game called Scrap Mechanic. Now, I've seen a couple guys playing this and it is totally my cup of tea, and perhaps it'll be yours too. So first of all, what exactly is Scrap Mechanic? So Scrap Mechanic is a world-building voxel hybrid type game, but you know what? Calling it that is really selling it short, because where this game really shines is in its name. So what this game is really about is building machines and mechanisms that follow simple logic, but when combined together, create some pretty complex and very fun stuff. So I've only been playing this for a little bit, but from what I've seen so far, this game is really good. So there's a lot of stuff to explain. I can't possibly get through it all today, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain some of the very basic stuff, and then we're going to create, hopefully, something really cool. So to begin, like I said, this is a voxely type game, and as many voxely type games, this uses blocks. So let me show you how those work, because they're kind of like a fundamental thing. So you just take a block, for example this one, and you left click on the ground like so, it will place the block. If you right click, it will destroy it. So it's kind of like the inverse of Minecraft. I keep mixing it up myself, but you know, it's easy enough to work with. So where this system is really good is in its multi-block system. So you can place a single block like so, but if you actually click and drag, you can place multiple blocks at the same time, which is really handy. This actually reminds me a little bit of when I was playing Lego Worlds, but I remember that multi-block system was really janky to work with, really horrible and unintuitive. This, on the other hand, is really nice. By the way, if you want to actually change the plane, so as you see, I'm doing that. If you just press Q, it will switch the plane in which you're dragging, which is really nice. So you know, you can build stuff really quickly, really easily. So I can just build like a little wall if I want to. Just doing a couple of drags. As you can see, this is just like really quick to work with. Like so, and you can kind of just customize it really easy. Like get rid of a couple of blocks here, and it literally just takes no time at all. Very nice to work with, and it's very nice polished system, I think. Okay, so we understand the building. Now let me introduce you to a very simple but very vital component called the bearing. So if we go to this wall and we place down one of these bearings, for example, we could place it over here. It's just a circle. So what does this bearing do? Essentially, simply put, it spins. So let me place some blocks on it and you'll see what I mean. So if I just place a block here, like so, we could place one here as well, and maybe actually just down here as well. And if I place one here, we'll see in action, it starts to spin. So if I actually hit it with a hammer, like so, I can actually interact with it and make it move. This is a very simple thing, but it's actually a very vital mechanic. Now, if I actually put a block in a way, for example, if I put it here, you'll see that it actually stops moving. So I can hit it again, but it won't go beyond this one because this wood block here is not actually part of the bearing mechanism. So bearings are indeed pretty dang cool. So we've been interacting with these just by hitting them with this hammer, which, you know, it works, but we can actually interact with these in more of an automatic way, and it's pretty easy to do. So basically what you need is something called an engine. We're going to be using the electric engine because that's what you're supposed to use for the bearings. We'll just place that down on this wall back here. And if we just open it up with E, we can see the interface inside. So this is currently in off state, but basically it has various different power levels. So this would be power level 1, this would be power level 2, power level 3, etc., all the way to the top. And essentially what power levels do is they kind of determine how fast it spins, because each of these bearing objects actually have weight to them. So if we just add one block, that's very light, but the more blocks you add onto it, the heavier it becomes and the more power it needs to spin. So that's what that is for. So how do you actually connect these together? Well, we just use a tool which is called the connecting tool. So as you can see, when I hold it up, we get some dots, and these kind of represent mechanisms. So there's the bearing, there's another bearing, and over here is the engine. So basically what you have to do is you just have to drag from one point to another to connect them together. So we'll do that, and it's not moving at the moment because we haven't turned it on, but if we do turn it on to power level 1, for example, it should start moving very slowly. Now if you actually right click on this, like so, it will reverse the direction, and if I just modify the speed, it could go very, very fast if we wanted it to. So you can see it starts to speed up. Very simple stuff, but can be made into some much more complicated stuff. Okay, so that is kind of the basic stuff. There's of course more, but those are the fundamental things you need to know. So now that we've got all that in our heads, let's try to create something kind of cool. So I have an idea. So as you can see, we've kind of got this road here, which goes into this dirt clearing that I've been using. And I thought what would be kind of cool is if we made some kind of like garage door, which kind of blocked access to this little area. We could maybe build something later here. I think that could be kind of a cool little first starter project. Okay, so I guess the first place to start is to kind of design what it looks like a little bit. So what I will be using is these two blocks. So kind of like a metal column and a blue girder. I think it's called a girder. As you can see, there's actually quite a lot of building blocks available. They don't like do anything functionally, but they look pretty, so that's nice. So I guess we'll put it over. We want it obviously kind of into the entrance, so maybe like here would maybe work. Maybe put 2 here. I need to measure the distance so we can get everything right. Because obviously you can actually only do things in certain angles. You can't go like diagonal or anything. So we just do probably need about maybe like 7 or 8, 5, 6, 7, 8. You know, let's go 9. Let's go 9. Yeah, 9 in between. That's gonna be a very big. That's gonna be a very big door. But let's just add 1 here like so. And we'll kind of like repeat that. I want it to be kind of fairly tall. So now we have a big door. Now if we actually go up to it, you can see in the top left corner there's a bearing. It's right there. Maybe just zoom in so you can see it a little better. It's right there. And what this means is that if we were to hit this door with a hammer, the entire thing is going to swing, which is really cool. Which is, yeah, it's cool. But what we need to do is we need to make it more automatic. So what we're going to do is we're going to come around the back, and what we're going to do is we're going to add an engine up here, I think. Engine there, and there's also another element, another component called a switch, which I haven't showed you yet, which we'll just put here. And what the switch does is kind of acts as like a filter between the power source and the mechanism, in this case the bearing. So let me show you how that works. Let's just connect them all up together. So for example, we can connect the engine up to the bearing first, like so. Then that to the switch. And let's actually just give it some power. Maybe at this one, we don't want it to be too strong. And what happens when we press E is it opens up. That's quite a lot of force actually. It probably doesn't need quite as much power. But what we need to do now is we kind of need to do it so that it can actually close properly. Because if I do this, it will close very slowly, but that's not really how we want it. So we're going to have to introduce a new component. And that component is actually a sequencing device. So we're not going to be using the engine, as it turns out, because it's not the appropriate component. So let's just get rid of it, I guess. So let me introduce you to the controller, which is, like I said, a sequencing device. I'm not actually entirely sure how it works entirely, but I think I have the basic grip. So here is a bearing swivelly thingy. Here is a switch, and here is the controller. So let me show you the interface. Yeah, it's a sequencing device. It might look a little bit confusing, but I think basically what it is you there's kind of like steps, like this is stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, etc. And you kind of specify how many degrees it rotates each step. So kind of let me show you that. So as you can see now, it's minus 90 degrees, pause, and then positive 90 degrees. So when I hit this switch, pressing E, it goes minus 90 degrees, stops for a moment, and then goes back down. So we can actually change that. For example, we could change that to minus 180 degrees, like so. And then when we press it, it goes minus 180 degrees. And then it should go 90 degrees. Yeah, 90 degrees. And then when you hit it again, it goes minus 90 degrees and then positive 180 degrees. So it kind of does it in the inverse. Alright, so let's just reprogram it from the beginning. So we're going to place a switch again here, like so. And then around the back, we're going to place one of these controllers, which we will put on the back side. So let's just put that around here. Let's kind of rotate it. Where's the front? I think that's the front. There we go. And then we just take this whatever this thing is called, and it's a little bit confusing. So we have to assign that to the bearing, and then we have to assign that to the switch, and then we need to assign like how it rotates. I don't know what this one means, but it seems to be separate from the other ones. So let's make it go positive. I think positive 90 degrees. Wait maybe 2 steps, and then it should go minus 90 degrees. Let's see if that works. I think it should. So if we press E, opens, and then it should close. Okay, but we want it to go a little bit slower than that. So if you actually go back in here, we can do that. So if we just slow this bit down here by dragging that, that should probably be a much nicer speed, I think. Well, that was actually very fast. And then it goes back down. That was weird. Let's try that again. Let's actually try and press it this time. Yeah, that's much better. That's a bit more dramatic. And then it pauses, and then it goes... Then it goes back down, maybe? You can go back down? Or are you going to stay up there? It goes back down. Okay, yeah, that looks pretty good. I think that's a pretty nice garage door, if I do say so myself. But anyway, guys, that is unfortunately all we have time for today. I do hope you enjoyed this introduction to Scrap Mechanic. It seems like a really fun game, and this right here is a really basic thing. It's a really basic thing. There's like so many more things we can do, but I really want to play this game some more. It's kind of exciting to play, actually. But yeah, I really do hope you enjoyed. If you did, a like is of course always much appreciated. Subscribe if you're not already. Thank you very, very much for watching, and I will see you next time.